Okay. So who got to see the bubble shards bubbling up in the oven? We couldn't interact, but I thought taking it out of the oven and bringing it all the way here, the bubbles are just going to disappear. You saw Aparjita. That's nice. So you're just wondering who was like watching it, but then it will be recorded at least, so we could save it for later. So that was like 30 minutes in, and another 30 minutes is going on. Oh, that's nice. Most of you are there. So now we are going to move on to wafer paper texture. I thought we'll just do that onto the square cake on the top. You could do that with water, but we need a lot of time for the water to evaporate. But so now I'm just going to use vodka. Okay. So I'm going to add vodka in this bowl. I have wafer paper. I'm also going to get the color mixed up. That's about some red and a bit of brown. Obviously need more of vodka in it. That's the same color of the fondant that I had draped. So that's some wafer paper. I'm just going to brush it up in this wafer paper to see if the color is fine. I think it looks good. So what I'm going to do to start with, get this vodka and the color mixed up liquid on the cake first. I'm going to just tear up random pieces of wafer paper. I'm going to keep the rough side out. And then paint again, apply the vodka color. I think there's some green in the brush. So what this will do, it will just soak up and make the wafer paper soggy. Okay. And now just try to push and move the wafer paper. So it needs to, you need to allow a little bit of time for it to soak the liquid and become soggy. Use like a Dresden tool or any modeling tool. I try to just push it with a Dresden tool. This is again creating textures. This will move from its original position and it's just going to occupy lesser space. Just struggling to move. So the next portion, I'm just going to soften the wafer paper first before putting it on the cake. So it's actually soft before even coming in contact with the cake, so it moves easily. I'm just going to remove these, which are like projecting out too much. I just want the surface to be in the same level. So the next piece, I'm also going to apply trying not to get the color on the copper. So did you notice the copper thing is done to all the four sides now? So what I'm going to do into this liquid, I'm going to put the wafer paper in, dunk it fully, and that way it becomes soggy before it goes onto the cake. Allowing the time for it to shrink. My finger is hiding. Push it inside and try and create the wrinkles. That's what we are looking at. I'm just looking at a wrinkled texture. And for which the wafer paper should just become soggy. I'm going to dunk it. It could also allow more time. So what I'm going to do, stick it around on more surface. So until then, this particular wafer paper will just take its own time to become soggy. So moving it and then creating the wrinkles would be easy for me. That one I just didn't dunk. This one I'm just going to dunk it. You want to drip off the excess. You can overlap. I'm going to start to push this one. So now this kind of moves easily. Is it clear? So this panel allowing it to stay there for some time to soak up and become a bit soggy kind of moves. So these are things maybe your client may not appreciate, but these are stuffs that will work when you are presenting your cakes on competitions and things where you just need to put yourself up there, showing your skill set, because these are like the modern art. Some people just may not understand, but then they'll stand out because they are technically stronger areas where you could just show that you are updating yourself and you're appreciating kind of art that is just not for edible eating stuff. It just all comes when you are working with the wedding cakes and you're just playing out with kind of modern art kind of skill set that you could just display. You could just use them for your cakes that you're presenting in collaborations and cake competitions and all that. So instead of keeping like a plain draped surface of the fondant cake, these textures will just add value. I'm checking how it's seen there on the video. So I'm going to cover up the rest of the areas wherever it is just exposed. I think it's now soggy enough. So it's moving. Is moving seen, Hashi, clearly? Or should you just, in this thing moving, maybe you should do close up? Full zoom, huh? Change. Okay, so I'm just trying to show by moving the Dresden tool and pushing it inward will create the wrinkles. I just want you to see how the wrinkles are getting created. some parts of the cakes are seen. Just going there and then covering that part up and making everything look like the texture with the wafer paper is also good, you can do. But then showing a bit, that's why we choosing the same color as the fondant. And some parts where the cake is seen, like say in these areas, is also quite fine. But then overall, the messy look should look imperfectly perfect. So it's like you have to be very specific of what mess you're creating. So overall, it has an appealing look also. Because like when I started, maybe some of you thought, you know, this doesn't look good. But then overall, you make the entire thing uniformly a similar way, then obviously we are intending to have a texture like that. And if that shows, then the overall look will change. I could go on in these bits and do, or I could just also maybe not. So this is a texture you're looking at, wafer paper texture. But then in the royal icing, you don't get this. And these are all like different textures. Can the wafer papers be eaten? Yes, you can eat. Can I soak and place it in fondant? Yes, this is fondant cake only, no? Beautiful, huh? Okay, thank you. Okay, nice. Is there any need to preheat the oven? Yes, same 120 degrees is getting preheated. I mean, it was preheated and then we are working. So what we're going to do next is we are done with all the techniques. We are going to quickly finish this textures all around.